Alright, I think it's fair to say the Championship playoff semi-final first legs did not live up to expectations. Both games finished goalless, and here's hoping that the second legs will be a little bit more entertaining. That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video, so make sure to get your own score predictions in the comments down below. We've got Leeds coming up against Norwich on Thursday night, followed by Southampton against West Brom on the Friday. Feel free to leave your score predictions in the comments, but without any further ado, let's hop into my own. So starting out at Ellen Road for Leeds up against Norwich. On the back of a goalless draw in the first leg, you'd probably have to admit it is advantage Leeds coming into the return fixture at Ellen Road. The bookies do have Daniel Farke's side as the favourites to progress to Wembley. With that being said, I don't think you can discount Norwich just yet. In terms of the first leg, it never quite got going. Norwich were a little bit brighter in the opening exchanges, and then Leeds sort of grew into it a little bit more after the second half, but neither team was really at their fluid best, especially in the final third, and in the end both teams sort of cancelled each other out and were happy enough to sort of let that first game end level. I'm hopeful that this second leg at Ellen Road will start to open up a little bit more, and I mean there's definitely a lot more to come from each of these sides, certainly from an attacking point of view. In terms of the underlying stats throughout the season so far, Leeds being back at Ellen Road certainly falls into their favour. They've only lost 2 championship matches at home all season, albeit those 2 losses are the last 2 games they played at Ellen Road, those losses being against Blackburn and Southampton, but generally speaking, it has been quite a happy hunting ground for them. And on the reverse of that, Norwich haven't really been that prolific away from home. In terms of the Championship away table this season, Norwich would actually be 19th in that table, which really hammered home the importance of Norwich maybe taking the lead in that first leg, which set them up with something to sort of defend in this second game at Ellen Road. With all that being said, David Wagner has been there and done it before in terms of the playoffs, and it's quite similar actually how that first game played out to when he was last promoted with Huddersfield. The last time David Wagner was promoted with Huddersfield, they played out a goalless draw with Sheffield Wednesday in the first leg, went into the second game away at Hillsborough as the underdogs, managed to grind out a 1-1 draw, won on penalties, and obviously then ended up winning it at Wembley as well. He'll be hoping a similar game plan sort of unfolds in this one here for his Norwich side now. And the playoff hoodoo surrounding Leeds will always be there until they eventually get over the line, and I'm sure that some of that Ellen Road crowd will be a little bit antsy because of that. You know, it wasn't that long ago that Leeds were in a very similar situation to this, where they were the favourites to progress against Derby, all for Frank Lampard's side to come up with the sucker punch and knock them out in the second leg. I do think that with this game being at Ellen Road, if we see the best version of each side in this game, it probably is Leeds who then progress to Wembley, but playoff football is never quite that simple, is it? With all that being said, I think on the back of Norwich not taking an advantage from the first leg, I am slightly edging towards Leeds here to get the job done. Score prediction for me, going to go 2-1 to Daniel Farke's side. I do fancy Leeds to get to Wembley. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. And then the second game we have to preview, see Southampton going up against West Brom. Once again, I do feel like with that first game at the Hawthorns ending level, it is advantage Southampton going into this second leg. Back at St Mary's, where generally speaking they have been pretty strong all season. Looking into the underlying numbers for Southampton at home all year round, they've only lost 5 home matches in the Championship, and West Brom have always tended to be a little bit streaky on the road. They'd be 14th in the Championship table based on just away matches, so got it all to do in this second leg. With that being said, I do think that the first leg between these two was a little bit more watchable than the Leeds against Norwich match, a little bit more goalmouth action, both Palmer and McCarthy making big important saves at points of that match, and both sides certainly had chances to go ahead in that game. The bookies do have Southampton coming into this one as the favourites, and I think I'd subscribe along with that sort of logic. Obviously we'll look to have a lot of control and set the tempo for this second leg, but West Brom can be a tricky customer, and what I do like about the Baggies under Corberon is how adaptable they can be to different scenarios and matches. As we saw in that first leg at the Hawthorns, they are more than capable of going toe-to-toe with this Southampton side, and dare I say it, I wouldn't be surprised if this fixture went all the way. It went another 90 minutes, past that mark, and then maybe even to penalties to go ahead and separate these two sides. I really don't think there'll be that much in it here. For as good as Southampton can be going forward, they do tend to leave a gap or two in behind, which West Brom absolutely can look to exploit. Of the sides that finished in the top 6 this season, only Norwich have conceded more goals than Southampton have this year. I would like to think that this second leg does open up a little bit more, and we do get to see a little bit more goal mouth action from both sides. Score prediction for me, I'm going to go for another draw, you know. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in normal time. Think it could go the full distance. And then on penalties, I think Southampton maybe just take it. So that's my prediction for the second leg. So if all of that was to come true, it would be a Leeds against Southampton final coming at Wembley. From the off, I think that was the most likely outcome, given how far ahead Leeds and Southampton did finish above West Brom and Norwich in terms of the overall point totals for the season. But hey, at the end of the day, this is the Championship, and it's still very feasible that we could see a West Brom against Norwich final. Would like to hear from you guys in the comments down below. How do you personally see these matches going? But other than that, that will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.